Nassau. Nassau is the granddaddy of golf betting games, the OG format that's been emptying wallets on golf courses since the 1900s. It's basically 3 separate bets in one: front 9, back 9, and overall match. Simple, effective, and guaranteed to keep things interesting even if you completely tank the front 9. Here's how it works. You set a base amount, let's say $10, and that's your bet for each of the 3 components. So you're playing for $10 on the front 9, $10 on the back 9, and $10 for the total 18. That's $30 total at stake per player. The beauty of Nassau is the press. When you're down in any segment, you can press the bet, essentially starting a new side bet for the same amount. Say you're getting crushed after 6 holes. Press that front 9 bet, and now you've got a fresh chance to win your money back over the remaining 3 holes. But be careful. Presses can multiply faster than your bar tab. I've seen a simple $5 Nassau turn into hundreds of dollars by the 18th hole because some lunatic kept pressing every time he lost a hole. That's either a recipe for an epic comeback or financial disaster, depending on how your putter's working that day. Nassau works with any scoring format: match play, stroke play, whatever your group prefers. Just make sure everyone's clear on the rules before you start, especially around automatic presses. Some groups have automatic press rules when you're 2 down, which can get out of hand faster than your buddy's driver after his 3rd breakfast beer. Skins. If you want a game where a single great shot can pay for your entire trip, Skins is your answer. It's dead simple. Each hole is worth a set amount, and to win the skin, you need to have the lowest score on that hole. The catch? You have to win the hole outright. If anyone ties the low score, the skin carries over to the next hole, making it worth double. This is where things get interesting. By the back 9, you could be playing for significant money on a single hole if there have been a few ties. I've seen a modest $5 skin game turn into a $60 putt on the 18th hole after a string of tied holes. Nothing tests your nerves quite like a knee knocker that costs more than your driver. The best part about skins is that anyone can win on any hole. Your buddy who chunks it around all day but occasionally jars a 40-footer, he might walk away with the most cash. It rewards spectacular moments rather than consistent play, which keeps everyone engaged regardless of their overall score. Pro tip: for groups with varying skill levels, try handicap skins, where you apply strokes based on handicaps. This levels the playing field and prevents your group's ringer from walking away with everyone's cash every single time. Wolf. Now we're getting into the psychological warfare. Wolf is less about your golf skills and more about knowing when to trust yourself and when to trust your buddies, which, let's be honest, is usually a mistake. Here's the setup. On each hole, one player is designated as the Wolf. The rotation changes each hole so everyone gets multiple turns. The Wolf watches everyone else hit their tee shots, then decides whether to pick a partner or go lone wolf against everyone else. If you pick a partner, you're playing 2 against 2 for that hole. If you go lone wolf, it's you against the world, but the payouts are bigger. The catch? The Wolf has to decide whether to pick a partner immediately after each person hits their tee shot before seeing the next player's shot. This creates some delicious tension. Do you take your buddy who just striped one down the middle, or wait to see if someone hits it even better? Going lone wolf is where legends are made. The payouts are typically 2-1 or 3-1, so if you're feeling it on a particular hole, you can score big. But nothing's more embarrassing than declaring yourself lone wolf only to chunk your approach into the water while everyone else makes par. I've seen friendships tested when someone picks the wrong partner, or even worse, doesn't pick the guy who just hit the best drive of his life. You didn't pick me. I was literally in the fairway for the first time today. The grudges from Wolf can last longer than your hangover from the trip. Vegas. Vegas is pure chaos disguised as a golf game, and it's perfect for a foursome looking to spice things up. Players pair up as teams, but here's the twist. On each hole, the scores from each team are combined in a unique way to create a single number. Let's say player A shoots 5 and player B shoots 6. Their team score isn't 11, it's 56. The lower score always goes first, so if the other team shoots 4 and 7, their score is 47. The difference between the two numbers, 9 in this case, is what the losing team owes the winners, multiplied by the agreed upon stake. This format can get expensive fast, especially when someone in your group decides to channel their inner tin cup on a par 3. A snowman paired with even a decent score can create some astronomical numbers. I've seen guys frantically doing math in their heads after a bad hole, trying to figure out if they can still afford their mortgage payment. The strategy in Vegas is all about damage control. Sometimes it's better to play it safe and avoid the big number rather than going for glory. And partner selection is crucial. You want someone consistent rather than the boomer bust player who might shoot 39 on the front and 52 on the back. Bingo, bango, bongo. If you're playing with a mixed skill group and want something that gives everyone a fighting chance, Bingo Bango Bongo is your game. It rewards different aspects of golf rather than just the lowest score, making it perfect for leveling the playing field. There are 3 points available on each hole. Bingo, first player to get their ball on the green. Bango, player whose ball is closest to the pin once everyone is on the green. Bongo, first player to hole out. The beauty here is that even higher handicappers have a shot. Maybe you can't drive it 300 yards, but you can play strategically to be first on the green. Maybe your approach game is weak, but you're a wizard with the putter. Everyone has their chance to shine. The strict etiquette of playing in order adds another layer of strategy. Even if you're just off the green while someone else is 50 feet away on the putting surface, you have to wait your turn. This creates some interesting tactical decisions about club selection and shot choices. I've seen 20 handicappers clean out scratch golfers in this game because they understood the strategy. It's not about making the spectacular shot, it's about making the right shot at the right time. And there's nothing more satisfying than watching your buddy rush his putt because he's worried you're going to drain yours first and steal the bongo point. Dots. Dots is the ultimate team betting game that combines multiple skill elements with a dash of strategy, making it perfect for a buddies trip where you want everyone involved regardless of handicap. What makes this game particularly dynamic is the partner rotation, typically switching every 6 holes. So you'll play with every member of your foursome throughout the round. Here's how it works. On each hole, there are 5 potential dots up for grabs, each worth your agreed upon amount. Anywhere from $1 for casual play to $20 for the high rollers. I have played where the scoring has been varied, but typically have seen dots awarded for lowest individual score on the hole, if outright. Highest individual score on the hole. This dot goes to the opposing team. Closest to the pin in regulation. Making a birdie? Getting up and down for par from off the green. The genius of dots is in the scoring system. After each hole, you cancel out matched achievements between teams before awarding dots. For example, if Team A has the lowest score in a birdie, but Team B has an up and down, and Team A also had the highest individual score, giving Team B that dot. Then it's 2-2 and no dots are awarded for that hole. Only the net difference in achievements counts. This creates some fascinating strategic decisions throughout the round. Sometimes you're actually rooting for your opponent to make a putt if it means canceling out a dot your team would otherwise lose. I've watched guys nervously cheer for their opponent's birdie putts because it would neutralize the highest score their partner was about to cost them. The real excitement comes when one team manages to sweep all 5 dots on a single hole. That's when the dots double in value. I've seen conservative players suddenly get aggressive when they realize they're in position for a clean sweep. Nothing builds tension like watching someone line up a birdie putt, knowing it could be worth 10 dots instead of just 4 if they complete the sweep. Partner rotation adds another fascinating dimension. That guy you were cursing for costing you dots on the front 9, he's your partner on the back, so the alliances and rivalries shift throughout the round. This prevents any single player from being the permanent scapegoat and keeps the social dynamics fresh. The beauty of dots is that it rewards different aspects of the game. Your buddy who can't hit it past 220 yards but has a magical short game, he's valuable for those up and down dots. Your friend who sprays it everywhere but occasionally jars a long putt, he might snag you some crucial birdie dots. Everyone has a way to contribute. For maximum enjoyment, keep a running dot tally visible to everyone. The accountability creates both pressure and motivation. Nobody wants to be the guy who cost his rotating partners the most dots at the end of the day. Pro tip: if you're playing with varying skill levels, consider a slight modification where higher handicappers can count up and downs for bogey rather than par. This keeps everyone engaged in contributing to their team's dot count throughout the round. At the end of 18 holes, tally up each player's individual dot count based on what they earned during their various partnerships. The player with the most dots collects from everyone else, creating that perfect buddies trip moment where one guy is buying drinks while reminding everyone exactly how he earned their money. Hammer. If you're looking for a betting game that combines skill, strategy, and a healthy dose of intimidation, Hammer is your answer. This isn't just a golf game. It's psychological warfare with clubs, and it's guaranteed to test friendships and empty wallets in equal measure. Here's how it works. You're playing match play, but at any point before someone hits their shot, any player can yell, "Hammer." This doubles the value of the current hole. The player who's been hammered then has two options. Either play the shot as is with double stakes, or hammer back, which doubles the bet again. Now 4 times the original. The hammering can continue back and forth until someone decides to accept the challenge rather than re-hammer. Theoretically, a $5 Nassau could turn a single hole into a $320 bet if players keep hammering each other. I've seen a modest $2 game escalate to the point where guys were playing for their car payments on a single putt. The true art of hammer is knowing when to deploy it. The perfect hammer comes right as your opponent is standing over an uncomfortable shot, already fidgeting with doubt. There's nothing quite like watching someone who was already nervous about a downhill 5-footer suddenly realize it's worth 4 times what they thought. Timing is everything. Hammer someone too early and they have time to compose themselves. Hammer too late after they've started their swing and it doesn't count. The sweet spot is right as they're settling in but before they've committed. That moment when the hammer will echo in their head throughout their swing. I've seen the most mild-mannered accountants transform into cold-blooded assassins in this game. There's something about the power to double the bet that brings out everyone's inner gambler. And the first time someone hammers back at the group's usual intimidator, that's the stuff golf trip legends are made of. For groups with varying skill levels, consider implementing a handicap hammer, where better players can only hammer on certain holes where they don't receive strokes. This prevents the scratch golfer from hammering the 20 handicapper on holes where the outcome is all but certain. Word of warning, establish clear rules about maximum hammer limits before you start. I've witnessed a group that didn't set limits end up playing for a month's salary on the 18th hole after a series of hammers and hammerbacks. The winner was gracious enough to accept a payment plan, but the loser's wife still doesn't know why they needed to refinance the house. Stableford. Stableford is the perfect antidote to that buddy who has one bad hole and then mentally checks out for the rest of the round. Instead of stroke play, where one disaster can ruin your day, Stableford awards points for good holes and minimizes the damage from the blowup. The scoring is simple. Points are earned based on your score. I have shared an example scoring system, but you can modify it to reward different scores according to your group's skill level and to make things more interesting. The player with the most points at the end wins. What makes this great for a buddies trip is that one triple bogey doesn't tank your entire round. You just get 0 points for that hole and move on. No more watching your buddy mentally collapse after carding a 9 on the 4th hole. Stableford also speeds up play because once you can't score any points on a hole, you can just pick up. No more watching your buddy hit his 5th shot from the same bunker while the group behind you contemplates calling the clubhouse. For betting purposes, you can play straight up for total points or add side games like most points on par 3s, most birdies, etc. It keeps everyone engaged throughout the round, which is exactly what you want when you've traveled all that way to play together. Strike 3. This one's for the gamblers who like a bit of suspense. In Strike 3, you're playing match play against each opponent in your foursome. But with a twist, you can strike out any 3 holes during the round. Here's how it works. You play normal match play, but at any point, you can declare a hole struck before anyone in your group tees off on that hole. That hole then doesn't count in your match play scoring against any opponent. Typically, you get 3 strikes for the round. The strategy gets deliciously complex. Do you use your strikes early if you're facing a hole you historically struggle with? Or do you save them for the back 9 when the pressure mounts? And how do you adjust when your opponents start striking holes? I've seen guys get too clever for their own good, striking a difficult par 3 only to watch their opponent dunk one in the water. I wasted a strike on that? The second guessing and Monday morning quarterbacking is half the fun. This game rewards course knowledge and self-awareness. Know your strengths and weaknesses, and use your strikes strategically. It also adds a psychological element. There's nothing more intimidating than watching your opponent confidently strike a hole before you even get to it, essentially saying, "I don't even need this one to beat you." Nines, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nines is the perfect game for the group that wants multiple ways to win or lose their money. It's like playing 9 mini-games within your round with points awarded for different achievements. Here's the breakdown. You're playing for a total of 9 points per hole. If players tie on any shot, those points carry over to the next hole. This creates some interesting situations where a hole might suddenly be worth 15 or more points after a few ties. What makes nines great for a buddies trip is that you're never out of it. Maybe you blew your drive into the trees, but you can still win points with a great recovery shot. It rewards different aspects of the game and keeps everyone engaged throughout the hole. The accounting can get a bit complex after a few beers, so I recommend designating the most sober or mathematically inclined member of your group as scorekeeper. Nothing kills the vibe faster than spending 10 minutes on the next tee box arguing about whether the third shot points carried over from the previous hole. Rabbit. If you want a game that creates maximum drama with minimal complexity, Rabbit is your answer. The concept is simple. The first player to win a hole outright catches the rabbit and holds it until someone else wins a hole outright. Whoever is holding the rabbit at the end of each 9, or the entire 18, wins the bet. That's it. No complicated scoring, no point systems, just good old-fashioned hole-by-hole competition. What makes Rabbit especially entertaining is how quickly fortunes can change. You could hold the rabbit for 8 straight holes, only to lose it on the 9th. All that matters is who has it at the checkpoint. The psychological warfare is what makes this game shine on a buddy's trip. Watching your friend sweat as he tries to close out the front 9 with the rabbit in his possession is pure entertainment. And the trash talk when someone steals the rabbit on the final hole of the 9? Priceless. For added excitement, play Rabbit in the Hat, where the value doubles if the same player holds the rabbit at the end of both 9s. Nothing builds tension quite like watching your buddy who's had the rabbit since the 10th hole standing over a 5-footer on 18 with double the money on the line. Quota. Quota is the great equalizer, a game that gives everyone a fair shot regardless of handicap. Each player gets a point quota based on their handicap, and the goal is to exceed that quota during the round. The scoring system is similar to Stableford. Your quota is typically calculated as 36 minus your handicap. So a 10 handicapper would need to score 26 points to break even. The player who exceeds their quota by the most, or misses it by the least, wins. What makes quota perfect for a buddy's trip is that it automatically adjusts for different skill levels. Your sandbagger friend who mysteriously plays to a 20 handicap despite hitting 250-yard drives. He'll have a much higher quota to meet. Meanwhile, the legitimate high handicapper has a fighting chance. The best part is watching the mental calculations as everyone tries to figure out where they stand. I'm at 18 points through 12 holes, so I need 8 more points in 6 holes to hit my quota. It adds another layer of strategy to each shot decision. Snake. If you want to add some spice to your putting game, Snake is the perfect side bet. The rules are simple. If you 3-putt, you get the snake. Whoever has the snake at the end of the round pays everyone else the agreed upon amount. This creates some hilariously tense moments on the green. I've seen guys who normally lag their putts safely suddenly get aggressive because they're holding the snake with 3 holes to go. Nothing's funnier than watching someone nervously standing over a 3-footer knowing they're 1 miss away from holding the snake. For maximum entertainment, keep a physical representation of the snake, maybe a club head cover or something similar, that the current snake holder has to carry. The psychological burden of physically holding the snake adds to the pressure. To really crank up the stakes, play Poison Snake, where the amount increases with each 3-putt. First 3-putt might be worth $5, second is $10, and so on. By the end of the round, that snake could be worth serious cash. There you have it, the ultimate arsenal of betting games for your next golf trip. Mix and match these formats to keep things fresh across multiple rounds. Remember, the best buddies trips aren't just about the courses you play or the shots you hit. They're about the stories you create. And nothing generates better stories than watching your friend's face when he realizes his safe layup just cost him double his hotel bill. If you've got a favorite betting game I missed, drop it in the comments below. Now get out there, set those terms, and may the best sandbagger win.